In one of Preston Dennett's books, he describes an incident in which the ETs rearranged atoms. A contactee named Pat was on board a ship with about 30 ETs. Some were greys, and others were human-looking of different races, white, black, Asian, and more. The ETs were able to see into the future and knew in advance about an impending disaster, a volcanic eruption. They were waiting in two ships when the volcano exploded, sending an enormous mudflow racing down the valleys and burying many villages. Immediately, the ET ships moved in to rescue thousands of people. Pat watched in wonder as the metal hull of the ships changed shape when they hovered just above the mudflows. The formerly solid metal suddenly became fluid and solidified into a new shape. She said, it changed its outside metal configuration into a railing kind of thing and a flat area where people could climb on. This incident describes the same process that the ETs use in their replicators. They simply take atoms and rearrange them into any form and shape that they choose. In another trip on board an ET ship, Frank asked the ETs about gravity. Sometimes, the Nordics would not answer his technical questions, but this time they did. One ET said, "Hundreds of years ago, your scientists thought gravity to be a pull. They thought that the sun's gravity pulled Earth and the other the planets towards it. But they had it backward. Gravity is the result of a push rather than a pull." The ETs explained that the push happens when photons, atoms, and subatomic particles crash into one another. After they collide, they clump together and begin to rotate around a common axis, the same way that Saturn and its rings rotate together. The ETs told Frank to look at what Earth's most powerful telescopes can see. Almost everything in the universe is spinning or spiraling. Galaxies are a good example. The vast majority have spiral shapes. They explained that after these particles clump together, they attract other rotating clumps. Eventually, those spinning clumps grow into revolving dust clouds that eventually form rotating stars that ultimately develop into spiral galaxies. All of them are spinning, and that's the key to gravity. The ET said that this explanation of gravity encompasses everything from the tiniest to the most massive objects in the universe. And all of it begins with one small push that causes the tiniest of subatomic particles to spin. After the Earth changes, the ETs say that we will be able to use the anti-gravity propulsion technology that they use on their ships. Here's what other contactees and researchers have mentioned in the past. The same anti-gravity propulsion appears to be used on several classes of ET ships. Stanton Friedman offers one of the most precise descriptions. He wrote, "It seems reasonable to assume that the huge cigar-shaped motherships, into and out of which the smaller disc-shaped craft fly, are the interstellar vehicles and the others are Earth excursion modules for local travel only. Motherships are rarely observed cavorting or flying close to ground level. In Ted Phillips's huge collection of trace cases, more than 90% of the low-level vehicles are disc-shaped." Nearly all contactees who mention space travel say that the ETs travel faster than light wherever they want. If so, that means Einstein had it wrong. The ETs told the Mitchell sisters that once we understand gravity, faster than light travel will become clear. They said that there is no such thing as distance in space, that it can be shortened by the consciousness analyzing it. Exactly how that works is unclear, but Stanton Friedman provided an analogy. Picture a flat sheet of paper and then bend it so that diagonally opposite corners touch each other. Obviously, travel between these touching corners would be more rapid than travel across the paper had it remained flat. That analogy is overly simplified, but even so, it fits with the ET claim that they can warp or bend space and time so that they can cover seemingly long distances instantly. Frank once told John, "The ET ships travel on the weak lines of force that connect distant galaxies." Recently, scientists have found tenuous strands of dark energy and dark matter connecting the galaxies. So, do the ETs travel between galaxies along strands of dark matter? I don't know, but no matter how it works, ETs say that after humans reject their belligerent behavior, we will also be able to travel throughout the Milky Way galaxy and even to other galaxies if we wish. John was curious about anti-gravity ships in Earth's future. Entering a regression-progression session, he looked across the landscape of the future Earth and saw dozens of small 2- and 4-seater, saucer-shaped ships hovering or flying across the landscape. He also saw unmanned drones, ranging in size from smaller than a grain of sand to larger than a jumbo jet. John told Sarah, "Those small saucers are the automobiles and airplanes of Earth's future." Sarah immediately saw some humor in that and she said, "So, the 2-seaters must be the sports car version of saucers. Let's buy a red 2-seater with a fold-down top." They both laughed. When the ETs showed John the small saucers, he wondered about traffic jams. He realized that there was no visible traffic on that planet, because the small saucers can cloak themselves. Even if hundreds of saucers were in an area, they would be invisible to everyone around them. So, no cluttering of the landscape, no spoiling the views. And because of anti-gravity, no accidents. John continued, "And it's not just the ships that they cloak. Sometimes they cloak entire buildings on other planets. Why spoil the view? Just make your entire city invisible. The people inside the buildings can still see out. But others can't see them.